Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're taking a hard look at an everyday mystery that every single one of us encounters probably multiple times a day. You pull up a website, a giant banner pops up blocking the screen, and honestly, without even thinking, you just click Accept All so you can get on with your life. We all do it, right? But have you ever stopped to wonder what exactly you're accepting? Well, today, we are going to dissect an actual real-world cookie banner to reveal this massive invisible data bazaar operating right beneath your fingertips.
To really wrap our heads around this, let's set the scene with a very specific example. Imagine you're visiting the London Museum's website. You've got a totally innocent intent. You just want to read this interesting historical article titled Executions and Death Penalty Reforms in Britain. You click the link, the page starts loading, and boom, up pops the consent banner. To you, it's just a mild annoyance standing between you and a quick history lesson. But underneath that simple web page, a massive, invisible digital economy is instantly springing to life.
Okay, let's dive into this, because this number is absolutely going to shock you. 1,022. That is the exact number of advertising partners waiting in the wings behind that single article link on the museum's website. You aren't just visiting a museum, you're essentially walking into a crowded auditorium with over 1,000 silent observers all just waiting to process your personal data. Crazy, right?
So, to make sense of all this, we're going to break down this dense, incredibly complex legal document into 5 clear steps. First, we'll look at the illusion of consent. Second, the anatomy of a cookie. Third, we'll expose those 1,000 silent partners. Fourth, we'll see exactly how they build your digital profile. And finally, we'll uncover something called the legitimate interest loophole. Let's get right to it.
Section 1. The illusion of consent. Function versus tracking.
When you see a cookie banner, it feels like you're being handed the keys to your own privacy, doesn't it? But when we actually analyze the source code, we see this staggering imbalance. The site lists 28 cookies as necessary, basic text files that allow for secure page navigation. The website literally cannot function without them. But then there are 53 cookies dedicated purely to marketing. That means nearly double the amount of necessary functionality is dedicated to tracking you across different websites just to display targeted ads. The math alone kind of shows us what the true priority is here.
Section 2. Anatomy of a cookie. Going way beyond text files.
To really understand what's happening, we need to demystify some of the totally Orwellian jargon hidden deep in the fine print. I mean, a cookie sounds harmless, right? Like a cute little digital crumb? But the technology has completely evolved. For example, the consent form explicitly asks to identify your device using a technique called fingerprinting. This bypasses traditional cookies entirely. Instead of leaving a file on your browser, third parties actively scan your device for its unique physical and software makeup. We're talking things like what fonts you have installed, the exact resolution of your screen, or the specific plugins you use. It creates a highly specific digital fingerprint that can recognize you even if you actively clear your cookies.
Now, actually scratch that. It's important to note that not all tracking is inherently malicious. Some of it is actually really protective, like a mechanism to prevent cross-site request forgery. The London Museum website uses a specific cookie called a CSRF token. Think of it as a digital security guard, ensuring your browsing security by preventing unauthorized commands from hijacking your trusted session. So the technology itself is neutral. It's the application of it that really matters.
Section 3. The 1,000 silent partners. Exactly who is watching you?
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer variety of massive tech players involved and the wildly different lengths of time they hold onto your data. Remember those 1,022 advertising partners? You've got TikTok dropping cookies to track embedded services for a full year. You have Meta platforms engaging in real-time bidding for your eyeballs and keeping that data for 3 months. Then there's a data broker named Axiom analyzing audiences for just a single day, and Amazon Web Services dropping tokens just to figure out if you're a human or a bot. It's a massive, fully automated auction house, and your attention is literally the product being sold.
Section 4. Building your digital profile. The surveillance file.
So, how exactly do these silent partners take tiny, seemingly insignificant data points and combine them into a comprehensive surveillance file? Well, the consent form is actually remarkably transparent about this if you read the fine print. They are creating what they explicitly call profiles for personalized advertising. They're grabbing your geographical location, sometimes accurate to within just several meters. They take your device characteristics, they track what forms you submit and what non-advertising content you look at across multiple apps.
The source text even gives a wild example of how they assume your interests. Let's say you search for bike accessories and then later visit a luxury car configurator. They'll combine that data to assume you're a high-income earner interested in luxury cycling gear. It's like a giant puzzle, and you're providing all the pieces.
And this brilliantly illustrates the timeline of tracking, because this isn't just a fleeting glance. While some data is deleted the moment you close your browser, standard tracking from vendors like TikTok lasts a full year. Google Analytics holds statistical data for 2 years. But here is one of the absolute most shocking revelations from the museum's cookie policy. An anonymous identifier from a SoundCloud widget can live on a corporate server for a staggering 10 years. Think about that. A decade of digital memory, all from you reading one single blog post.
Section 5. The legitimate interest loophole. The legal backdoor.
Okay, so you might be wondering, what happens if you actually take the time to go into the settings and uncheck all those consent boxes? Well, this introduces the biggest irony of the entire platform. There's a fundamental, structural difference in privacy law between consent and legitimate interest. Data processing by consent requires you, the user, to actively say yes, but data processing by legitimate interest? That relies on a company simply claiming they have a valid, assumed business need to process your data. And if they claim that, they can essentially bypass your active consent entirely. No way, right? Yes way.
I want to read this quote to you straight from the London Museum's own consent details page. Quote, "Some partners do not ask for your consent to process your data. Instead, they rely on their legitimate business interest." Just let that sink in for a second. You're presented with a banner that gives you the total illusion of choice, while simultaneously hiding a massive legal backdoor that allows companies to track you whether you click accept or not.
And how many of our 1,022 partners do you think are using this backdoor? 794. That's right. A staggering 794 vendors claim this legitimate interest loophole to use your data to measure advertising performance, develop services, and understand audiences. You might feel like the bouncer at the front door of your digital life, but 794 companies already have a VIP pass to the back entrance.
So, the absolutely crucial point to take away from this explainer is that the internet we experience on the surface is completely different from the automated data harvesting machine operating underneath it. The true cost of our browsing convenience is a silent, decade-long dossier built by thousands of invisible partners. So I'll leave you with this question to ponder today. Next time a banner pops up blocking your screen and you casually hit accept all, who are you really inviting in? Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive, and I will see you in the next explainer.